What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Watch It in Action. I'm your host, BouseFeenux, and today we're taking a look at the Rubico. The Rubico is a revolver-style sniper rifle in Warframe, and you can find the blueprint for it in the market for 20,000 credits. The Rubico is a powerhouse of a weapon and features the highest critical multiplier of all sniper rifles in the game. This weapon also features fairly high base damage made up primarily of the impact damage type with a little bit of slash and puncture thrown in. This is a bit of a downside when fighting armored targets or infested, as impact tends to fall off against those enemy types at higher levels. Fortunately though, with the critical multiplier this weapon is capable of, it doesn't really matter what you use it against because the damage potential for this weapon is so staggeringly high. Additionally, you'll notice that, like all other sniper rifles since update 18, the Rubico gives a buff when zoomed in. When fully zoomed, you'll notice that you receive a 50% bonus to critical damage. As for the negatives, the Rubico has an insanely slow reload time for only having a 5-round magazine. This means that you'll need to make every shot count. Moreover, for a single shot weapon and compared to other sniper rifles, the Rubico has a fairly low critical chance. Also, I kind of feel bad for saying this, but I think most of you will agree that one of this weapon's negatives is simply the fact that it's a sniper rifle. They don't really fit well in the fast-paced nature of this game. They seem clunky, and it's a little tougher to choose them over a weapon that can get the same job done faster. Regardless of those points though, I really like this weapon and it's easily one of my favorite snipers. The build I've put together fixes a few of the weapon's problems and makes it a lot more usable. Let's take a look at that. First, disregard the Forma investment for this weapon. I know it says 7 at the top, but I made a mistake when I was building this weapon and needed to correct it. To fit the build you see here, you'll need about 6 Forma, as this weapon doesn't come with any polarity slots. The build itself is simple though, and doesn't require anything too crazy. To start, we're using split chamber to increase our multi-shot. This gives us a bonus to the amount of projectiles that are fired per shot. Our next mod, Serration, increases our damage across the board. There isn't a single weapon we won't use this on, so if you're new to the game, make sure you max one of these out as quickly as possible. Shred is a mod some of you might argue against, but I'm sticking to my guns on this one. Shred increases our fire rate and gives us a bit of punch through, which allows us to shoot through targets. With its slow reload time and small magazine, and not to mention it's a single shot weapon, we'll need every shot to be able to take out the maximum number of targets possible. I feel like this mod is essential for this weapon. Moving on, Vital Sense is a mod that increases our critical multiplier, and thus increases our critical damage. This is another essential mod for the Rubico. Argon Scope is our first mod on the bottom row, and gives us a much needed 135% boost to critical chance whenever we get a headshot. I included this mod to help make up for the lack in critical chance the Rubico suffers from. Unfortunately, this still isn't enough to get us into red crit territory. This build has space for 2 elemental mods, and these can be any 90% elementals you want them to be. Just make sure that they're appropriate for the faction you're going against, and that you're not using the dual stat status mods. This weapon has terrible status scaling, and those mods would be a waste. Our last mod, Point Strike, is simple enough, and all it does is increase our critical chance, a must-have for this build. Now that we've taken a look at the mod setup, I'd like to show you how this weapon performs in a controlled environment using a best-case scenario against some high-level targets. Today's test is simple. We'll be using some level 100 targets that you'd commonly see in the Void. I'm using these because they're a good representative of the most common types of enemies found across various factions in the game. There isn't really much to note about this build other than that you should focus on getting headshots and stay zoomed in the maximum amount if you can. This will ensure that you're getting the maximum critical damage possible and constantly proccing your Argon Scope. I'm gonna let you guys watch the damage numbers for a few seconds. And that covers it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to tell me in the comments and support this video with a like. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. It helps a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at the next one.